I would start out with, so you want to be a real estate agent?
Yeah. How many people say, I want to be a real estate agent? What next?
Yeah.
If you can't write a contract on the back of your car on a Saturday night, then you don't know enough. All you have to do is show up. Just show up and you can succeed. Let's get to the point.
We're in an interesting time in which people really are coming into real estate at an all-time record pace. And a couple things that I think are worth noting in terms of what you should consider if around becoming a real estate agent. And then
Right.
if you've made that decision, how to best expedite that process. Jeff, what's the first thing to consider in terms of should I even be a real estate agent?
Right. The TV stations make it look easier than it is. So we talked about this, I think, one of the other podcasts. So what you're getting into is a career path that a lot of people think they want to get in
Right.
because there is no income ceiling. You can make as much money as you can dream of, yet you're competing with highly talented people that have earned the right to do business in that area. And then what happens is it's like the number of real estate agents that are in your marketplace kind of is commensurate with or goes along with the amount of commission income availability in that market. And so they both grow until there isn't any more commission for the people that are in it, right? And then the number of realtors comes down, and typically that's a shifting market or something
Right.
will mark that. So, but why does everyone think they want to be a realtor?
I think one is they see the millionaire lifestyles, the shows on HGTV
Right,
that make it look so luxurious.
right.
And I'm mindful of Gary Keller that says successful agents put their toe right up on the line, almost crossing the line of just maddening mundaneness, because it's the repetition of a few simple things over and over and over,
Yeah,
which is the discipline
it is.
that leads to massive success.
And then the second thing is they want flexibility of their schedule, right? And yet, getting started for me was the first 18 months was one of the hardest things I had ever done in my whole
Yeah.
life, starting from zero. So, when do people want to look at houses or talk about selling theirs? Answer when they're off of work. So, it'd be nights, holidays, or weekends, which is exactly when we think by getting into real estate, we're going to do it during the week and 9 to 5, right?
Yeah, well, and here's what I would say is freedom and flexibility are paid in arrears.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, the fact of the matter is you've got to put in the time
Right.
to earn back freedom. And I call it the law of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Law of gravity is what goes up
Yeah.
must come down.
Come down. Yeah.
Well, the law of freedom is the person who takes the most responsibility has the most freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you take on that responsibility and get it done, then it affords you that place of, do I want to take off Friday? I don't have to ask anybody. Now, the wise, successful person says, should I take off? And there's times when they say, I want to, but I shouldn't, so I won't. I've got to do the work. But over time, and I think it's a 5-year process, you earn that right to say, I've got enough momentum in the bank that I can take off when I want to, because I've learned how to gauge when I should or shouldn't.
Yeah, that's good. It took me, I would say 1.5 years or 18 months to be comfortable doing all the contracts, all the addendums, the listing agreements, and knowing enough to do it myself. As I always talk about this, on the hood of a car on a Saturday night or by myself without help.
Wait, you've said that before?
That's the basis for it.
Yeah.
Because without it, you're not good enough to earn the right. So the best agents earn the right to put on their voicemail recording, I'm only taking calls until 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. If you're calling after that, I'll return your call tomorrow. You earn the right to do that as opposed to, I'm available 24 hours a day because you're starving.
Right.
and you're trying to get your business going, both of which I understand. So
I think the first thing is if you have this personal self-discipline to put in the work and put in the responsibility on the front end and delay the gratification of freedom and flexibility for a season, could be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, then you can earn into that right of freedom and flexibility where there is no limit. We see this. It's not crowded at the top.
You always say that. It's right.
The wealth in real estate is disproportionately distributed to the top who have that work ethic and drive.
That's right.
And they will always, some of them will bank and then bail. They made enough that they can retire. So there's room coming into that. The crowded is at the bottom. So if you want that, you've got the work ethic and the drive behind that. You can create that. And yet you've got to be willing to put in that time. And where else can you go? And in a 3 to 5 year span, create a solid 6-figure career than real estate. I mean, you got to be 18 years old, have a GED, pass a course at a C-, D+ level, pass a state exam, and just don't do anybody wrong.
Right.
And you can create a solid figure if you've got that drive, work ethic, and tenacity.
Yeah.
And skills.
And absolutely. You put enough money in the bank, you become free, then you can have freedom, flexibility, and do whatever you want time-wise. But in the meantime, until you have whatever 6 months or a year's worth of expenses in the bank, your business is going well.
That's another great point. I mean, if you don't have the runway of at least 6 months, because you're going to get underpaid, what you think is underpaid for your first 6 months to a year.
Right.
Some people are, just take off like a Harrier jet, up and out.
Right.
But most don't. And so you really need 6 months to a year where you're not hedging your bets. You're all in, burn the ships. I will succeed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So people start out with an income level of X, whatever the X is. I think I said we had over 100 people making 100,000.
Yeah.
Next year, barring anything going wrong or different dramatically, they should make 200,000 next year if they keep applying themselves.
Right.
And then the next year they could make 400,000. I mean, it literally doubles your income. You can double your income over time if you keep on going with it. And where else do you get 100% raises?
Yeah. So I'm coaching a young man who doesn't have a college degree. His first year, he grossed a little shy of $60,000 grossed. Now you take out expenses. He's probably made about $30,000 net.
Right.
His second year, and I coached him in his second year, he grossed about $110,000.
Close.
So he netted about 60. Now we're coaching into that second year, his third year career. Once again, young man, no college education, but drive and focus now. In 4 months, he has grossed over $120,000. So that momentum kicks in, and you look at that from a career path and a wealth. We're now having conversations of when will we buy our first real estate, our first rental property, to start creating that passive income so that when he's 45, 50 years old, he's got total funding. But that's, if you're wanting that and you're willing to put in that first year, second year, underpaid first year, coming up second, and then opportunity galore,
right?
Maybe you should be a real estate agent.
In the third year, you do. You build your referral business up if you're professional enough and if you've earned the right to get referrals from your past clients. That's when it all comes together for you nicely. You end up with a real business.
Yeah. So here's reality is if you want to become a real estate agent, you first have to go to real estate school.
There you go.
And the reality is it's not a big. It's for some they overthink it, but it's 63 hours, right?
Yeah, that's what they say. It's 63 hours of training, but it's real estate school was fun for me. I was 45. Obviously I hadn't been in high school since 1973, right? I was 17.
You're that old.
And the big, oh yeah, yeah. My full retirement date is December 8th,
Yeah.
2021, and I'm 66 years and 2 months. But so the only thing about and I was never that smart in high school, never went to college. Testing wise, though, what the real estate school, it was A, B, C, D, multiple choice. And for me, it appeared as though there were two answers that were close and two that were not.
Right.
And so the two that were close, it was a verbiage difference only, like they were testing your ability to handle the words.
Right.
It
Right.
wasn't really a mind game with it. So people make it harder than it needs to be.
Yeah. And I think that kind of leading up to that, the first thing I would say is the real estate school is really about language and law. It's just learning the language, learning the laws. You're not learning anything about business.
That's a perfect analysis.
And the mistake that I see for those that sign up, and the good thing is through Keller Williams now, we can take somebody that we're going to bet on their career path and put them through real estate school at no cost to them. It's a cost to us, but we're going to invest in them. But what we want to see are people that will get it done 60 days. And people might say, oh my gosh, 60 days, that's a long time. Do you know how long it took me to finish real estate school?
How long?
4 days.
Really?
I made the decision on a Thursday night, put my wife and my youngest daughter on a plane to New York that early morning on Friday, right before Memorial Day weekend. I signed up for an online course. I stayed on the couch ordering pizza and worked from can to can't. And Monday night, when they showed up at 11 o'clock from New York, I had finished my real estate course. And I applied. I sat for my test that following Saturday. They weren't all those background checks. And that following Monday, I went to work for Keller Williams as a real estate agent. So the thing that I see is one of the mistakes is once you make that decision, that's not a mistake. It's drawing it out. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
Get it done. Go as quickly as you can, because it's not that you have to remember and know everything. You just need to remember it for the test so that when you come to that test and the question's raised, there are 4 questions, multiple choice. 2 are just throwaways. And it's easy to spot if you slow down. And then 2, as you say, there's one that's more right. Make the decision and don't look back. Don't ever change those answers. And I think that's the way to succeed through getting your real estate license. Do it quickly. When it comes to test, think, have a methodical process, and don't look back.
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing, like you said in the beginning, I'll reiterate that most of the information you receive at that real estate exam, regardless of what state you take it in, I'm told it's not relevant to your future.
Yeah.
So then you have to learn what it's like to become a real estate agent after that.
That's right. And the cool thing about our partnership with our real estate school through Keller Williams is we are actually start from that beginning, sprinkling in some business principles, some sales principles. We don't do it to the point that it distracts you from passing the test, because no sales questions are on the licensing exam.
Right.
But it's enough to begin you thinking through that process of how to succeed. And so that's an opportunity. And so what I would say to the person out there who is thinking about a career is, number one, do I have the drive, work ethic, and runway to get it done, right? Those are important.
The runway to you is 6 months expenses in the bank, so it might take you that long to get your first check.
That's right. And from there, then we're looking at make a decision and run with it and run quickly. Time is not on your favor. If you stretch this out 6 months, I don't think you're going to be successful.
Right.
60 days max, 30 days better. Get it done and go forward. And a friend of mine brought out the decision piece. Think about the word decide. It's made up of that word side. What's homicide? It's killing a person.
Death of an individual. I guess.
Yeah. What's herbicide? It's death of a plant. Insecticide is death of an insect. Well, decide is death of any other option. You kill away any other option. You put it to death and say, I'm going this way. I'm going to get it done. And it's definitive. And I think that success respects the deciders who really kill off any other option, but I'm going to go do this, and they get it done.
I learned something today. Thanks for that. That was good. And that's just entirely true. And I think the percentages are all in support what you're saying is the people who get it done quicker actually get it done. And there's a way lower percentage over time of people who pass
That's it.
if they wait.
Yeah.
So do it.
And one little caveat. If you don't succeed at first, try again. One of my friends, he was a young agent that came in, he had a learning disability, and it took him 7 attempts to pass. He just did not test well. But he made a decision. He was going to become a real estate agent. He kept working, got a tutor. You know what he did his first year? Became the rookie of the year.
Wow.
For the whole city.
Wow.
So he had the drive, the work ethic, which showed through his tenacity. But he went through quickly, and then he realized each time he failed, he's like, okay, this is what I need to learn from it. And he kept learning fast. And he failed through those 7 times, not over a long period of time. He just kept hitting it. So there you go.
It's really good. We were told this year there'll be more people entering the real estate business than at any other year in history.
Yeah.
And so it's going to take a lot of professionalism to work through that and get to wherever you want to go. But 20 years later, it's been worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.